When Eddie Griffin sat down and started talking about Malcolm-Jamal Warner, no one expected what came next. What began as a casual conversation quickly spiraled into one of the most jaw-dropping revelations in recent memory. Eddie didn't just share stories, he pulled back the curtain on an entire era of Hollywood we thought we knew. From spiritual rituals before filming to the internal battles with writers and producers, the details were raw, emotional, and downright chilling. And the most shocking part? The quiet tension between two beloved stars that fans never saw coming. As Eddie's voice grew heavier, it became clear. This wasn't about petty drama. This was about dignity, betrayal, and the price of survival in a system that chews up black talent and spits out stereotypes. Fans were left reeling, and Malcolm's silence, even louder than words. Could this be the truth that finally explains why it all ended so suddenly? Or is this just the beginning of a darker story yet to unfold? Stay with us, because what Eddie just said might confirm your worst fears. The energy outside the studio had shifted. Social media had already erupted into a frenzy as rumors swirled about what was really going on between Eddie Griffin and Malcolm-Jamal. Fans were scrambling to connect the dots, and suddenly everyone remembered a cryptic Instagram post Malcolm had shared weeks ago. A dimly lit photo of a closed door with the caption, "Some doors are closed for a reason." At the time, it was brushed off as poetic nonsense. Now, people were convinced it was a shot at Eddie, but that wasn't the only clue. A close source from a former set assistant came forward anonymously and claimed that tensions between the two stars had been brewing for years. It wasn't just a creative difference, the insider alleged. There were times they couldn't even be in the same room without throwing shade. The smiles on camera, all for show. Off camera, they barely spoke. This revelation was like throwing gasoline on an open flame. Just hours after the story started trending, Eddie Griffin was seen walking into a popular LA diner. Cameras were already waiting, but what stunned fans wasn't that he showed up. It was who he showed up with. Sitting across from him was none other than Elijah Tate, a former manager, who had once worked closely with Malcolm-Jamal before they had a very public falling out. What was Elijah doing back in the picture? Speculation exploded. The sighting sparked a million theories. Was Eddie digging up old dirt on Malcolm? Was he planning a public expose? Or was this just a coincidence? Nobody believed the latter. Then came the voice memo. An anonymous clip was leaked online, allegedly recorded just days before Eddie's infamous podcast appearance. In the scratchy audio, a voice that sounded eerily like Eddie's said, "He thought he could silence me. But I know everything. I was there." The internet lost it. Threads and forums exploded with frame-by-frame audio breakdowns. Lip readers, audio analysts, even self-proclaimed body language experts came out of the woodwork, each with their own proof that Eddie was finally ready to tell the world what really happened back then. And people were divided. Some believed Malcolm had something dark to hide. Others were convinced Eddie was stirring drama just to stay relevant. But the final blow? Late that night, Eddie Griffin went live on Instagram. Over 50,000 people tuned in within the first 3 minutes. Seated in his home office with dim lighting and jazz playing softly in the background, Eddie didn't waste time. He held up a faded black and white photo. "You see this?" he said, holding it close to the camera. "This is what he doesn't want y'all to remember." Then he dropped the bombshell. He alleged that during the filming of a certain sitcom, a critical decision was made, not by the producers, but by Malcolm himself, that ultimately changed the course of Eddie's career. "He made a call," Eddie said. "He picked up the phone and said I was a liability, that I couldn't be trusted, that I was a threat to the brand." Fans were stunned. Comments flooded in. Hearts and angry emojis competed for dominance on the live feed, and Eddie wasn't done. "You ever wonder why I left the show so suddenly? Why my name stopped being mentioned? That was no accident. That was calculated. And now he walks around pretending like he had no say in it? Please." The internet erupted, memes, reaction videos, fan theories. Within minutes, "In Eddie's Malcolm" was trending worldwide. Fans started digging through old episodes, pointing out moments where the on-screen chemistry seemed forced or where Eddie looked distracted, disconnected. Suddenly, everything from wardrobe choices to subtle eye rolls became evidence. But while some rallied behind Eddie, calling him brave for finally speaking out, others weren't convinced. They argued that the timing was too convenient, that Eddie had a comedy special coming out soon, and this was all just promotion. But no one could deny the impact. The drama had spilled far beyond fan circles. Talk shows picked it up. Blogs ran with it. Even mainstream news outlets were starting to weigh in. And as the firestorm grew, one question kept echoing across every comment section. If what Eddie said was true, what else had Malcolm-Jamal been? Hiding? And just when fans thought the dust had settled, things took a dramatic left turn. Whispers started swirling through the comedy circuits, claiming Eddie was planning to appear on a rival podcast, one known for airing out dirty laundry. No filter, no mercy. Malcolm's camp caught wind of it early, and according to a source close to the actor, he knew Eddie was going to say something wild. He just didn't know what. So when the episode finally dropped at midnight on a Wednesday, it was like a grenade went off in the entertainment world. The first few minutes were calm. Eddie cracked jokes, shared memories, even gave a few compliments. But then his tone changed. His voice got low. "Look, man," he said, "I tried to keep it cool. I tried to be respectful, but I ain't gonna sit here and let history rewrite itself." The host leaned in. "What you mean by that?" Eddie didn't hesitate. "Malcolm been out here playing this saint card, acting like he didn't know what was going on back then." Man, we both knew. We were in too deep. Fans were stunned. Online threads blew up within minutes. Was Eddie accusing Malcolm of being complicit in something shady? The internet did what it does best. It speculated, theorized, exaggerated. Meanwhile, Malcolm's team stayed silent. No tweets. No comments. Just silence. And that only made things worse. By the week, a new podcast episode. Not Eddie's, not Malcolm's. This time it was hosted by a mutual friend, someone who had worked with both of them during their sitcom's prime. The episode title? I Was There, and it wasn't what you think. From the jump, the guest made it clear, both men were victims, but neither were innocent. Eddie was reckless, he admitted. He joked at the wrong time, challenged the wrong people. But Malcolm, he played the game too well. And when Eddie needed him most, he stayed quiet. Fans were blindsided, a silence this whole time. And now it seemed that behind-the-scenes loyalties had long since crumbled. According to the podcast, during the show's third season, there was a meeting, a secret one, just producers, the network, and Malcolm. The topic? Eddie. Allegedly, they asked Malcolm how far he was willing to go to keep the show clean, polished, marketable. What would he do if Eddie kept being unpredictable? The source claimed Malcolm gave a diplomatic answer. Whatever's best for the show. But what followed, according to them, was a slow but calculated campaign. Scenes rewritten, punchlines edited, rumors spread internally that Eddie was difficult. And Eddie, he never got an explanation. Just icy professionalism. A friend who smiled on camera and vanished off set. Malcolm's team fired back the same day with a sleek, lawyer-approved statement. No names, no admissions, just a carefully worded denial of misinformation, gossip, and attempts to reframe history without full context. But it was too late. The damage was done. A day later, Eddie posted a grainy clip from an old rap party. The camera's shaky, the audio is rough, but the voices are unmistakable. Eddie is slurring slightly, laughing, clearly tipsy. Then he leans into the camera and says, "Malcolm's my brother, even if he don't always act like it." The internet went wild. People began pulling archive footage from award shows, pointing out the years they didn't sit together. One user made a viral timeline showing every time Malcolm praised someone from the industry, and how often Eddie's name was missing. But just when fans began to view Malcolm as the polished betrayer, a new story dropped. A hairstylist who worked with Eddie during his stand-up tour spoke anonymously on a Reddit thread. According to her, Eddie was spiraling back then. Drinking, lashing out, taking phone calls mid-rehearsal, and worst of all, trusting people who only wanted a piece of the drama. Malcolm didn't betray him, she wrote. He just stopped saving him. It hit like a gut punch. Now fans weren't sure who to blame. Was Eddie the misunderstood wild card? Or the one who burned his bridges and cried foul later? Was Malcolm the calm, collected diplomat? Or the cold-hearted survivor who ditched a friend to stay clean? And while everyone debated, another twist. An entertainment blog claimed to have access to a sealed settlement between the network and both actors. They teased explosive details, creative sabotage, withheld pay, and an NDA that prevented the truth from ever being aired. They promised receipts. But the blog went silent a day later. Some fans believe they were hit with legal threats. Others think it was all smoke. But the damage had already been done. By now, everyone was watching both men closely. Every Instagram like, every story, every pause in public appearances. Were they going to face off, talk it out, go silent forever? Then, an event invite leaked. A 90s sitcom reunion, slated for the following month. Both names were on the list. The internet braced itself. As the date of the reunion neared, speculation reached a fever pitch. Fans weren't tuning in for the nostalgia anymore. They were waiting for fireworks. Industry insiders whispered that the event's organizers were scrambling, unsure if both men would actually show up. The seating chart? A closely guarded secret. The run of show? Revised multiple times in a single week. Eddie, in classic Eddie fashion, stayed unpredictable. He posted memes, a blurry selfie of him holding a script, a cryptic quote, "Sometimes silence ain't peace, it's just the breath before the storm." No direct mention of Malcolm, no apology, no denial, just tension, hanging in the air like humidity before a thunderclap. Malcolm, meanwhile, went quiet. His team declined interviews. No stories, no live appearances, just one black and white Instagram post of him meditating by a river, captioned, "Clarity over chaos." The reunion night arrived, the red carpet, buzzed with cameras and questions, but neither Eddie nor Malcolm walked it. They both slipped in through private entrances, minutes apart. Backstage, it was tense. According to a stagehand who leaked texts to a gossip site later, the two men hadn't spoken. Not a word, not a nod. Their dressing rooms were placed at opposite ends of the venue, and security had been discreetly instructed to keep things smooth. The audience had no idea. The show started, the crowd cheered, and old cast members shared laughter, stories, bloopers. Everything was moving fine. Until the host, trying to play peacemaker or maybe just stir ratings, called them both on stage together. "Now," he said with a grin, "we all know the real magic happened when these two shared a scene, so why don't we give the people what they want?" The room froze for a second, and then applause thundered. Eddie walked out first. Smooth, composed, flashing that trademark smirk. Malcolm followed a beat later. Crisp, calm, every step measured. They stood side by side. The lights caught just enough glint in their eyes to reveal what the cameras couldn't. This wasn't peace. This was something else. The host tried to kick off a lighthearted Q&A. "So, do you remember the first scene you two shot together?" Malcolm smiled. "Vividly." Eddie chuckled. "Some of us remember the real scenes, not the edited ones." The crowd laughed awkwardly. Malcolm looked over. "Funny. I don't remember you having a problem cashing those checks." Eddie's smile didn't fade. "Money don't clean dirty floors." Tension. Real, heavy, unedited. The host tried to pivot. "You guys still have that chemistry, huh?" Eddie leaned in. "Chemistry's what happens when things explode, too." The producers cut to commercial early. Behind the scenes, chaos erupted. The crew rushed to both men's handlers. PR people huddled. Someone shouted to kill the next joint segment, but it was too late. The audience had seen it. Live viewers had screen recorded every second. Clips were already flooding social media. Eddie and Malcolm face off. Again. Real drama, no scripts. Reunion or war zone. But the real drama came later that night. Eddie posted a picture of his old script from the show, a page with dialogue scratched out and replaced. Under it, he wrote, "Revisions tell the real story." So now, we turn it over to you. Do you think Eddie and Malcolm truly squashed the beef? Was the reunion a raw moment of growth? or just a calculated publicity move? And more importantly, who do you believe leaked that emotional call? Let us know your take in the comments below. We want to hear it all. If you found yourself gasping at any point during this saga, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe for more exclusive breakdowns of Hollywood's messiest moments, because, trust us, this isn't the last time the past will come back swinging. This is Star Hype, and we don't just spill the tea, we serve it boiling.